Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Karen. I do nursing style videos as well as mom vlogs and day in the life. But today's video is just going to be a little bit different. It's actually Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I wanted to bring this about as my personal testimony. Hopefully this can help somebody out there that's going through this. This is me just speaking up roughly 4 years later. You guys were saying, like, you know, you don't have to share this is something personal, my history, even though it's not the best to talk about and it is a little sensitive. I'm gonna try my best not to cry, but again, I wanted to talk about this. So this is about my son's father. If you guys been following my son Noah, he has special needs, and I've been a single parent pretty much my entire experience as a mom. Our situation dates back to, I want to say, 2013, and him and I were actually Facebook friends. In the beginning, we were talking about real estate because we had mutual friends who were in it, and I was considering it at the time, and we were talking, and he was just telling me, oh, you know, you should do this. He was really knowledgeable about things, and that's why I believed him at the time. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, maybe I should consider it. He's like, when you're done, join my team. I'm like, I don't know about all of that. But our conversations kind of stuck there. But then it got a little crazy with him, like, constantly saying, oh, let's link up, let's do all of this. But I'm like, I wasn't interested in all that. I was telling him that, but he just wasn't taking a no for an answer. So that was the first red flag. So I just ignored him at that point, and got to the point that I actually deleted him off my Facebook. Now jumping to 2015, February 14th, this is a Saturday, Valentine's Day, and I just broke up with my ex-boyfriend at the time about a week prior, and it was still fresh. It wasn't like solidified, but I just felt like, okay, you know, this is done. I don't see things working out, because we were just arguing over something so foolish. So as I'm walking to the bus stop, because I was still working in the city at the time, there's this car honking out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay, are they honking at me? I have my earbuds in, my hood up. I'm just like, whatever, I'm gonna keep walking. So they're still honking, and it's getting a little closer. So as I'm crossing the street, they kind of like turn the corner, almost running me over. He rolls down the window, and I'm like, can I help you? He's like, hey, do you remember me? I'm like, I don't remember you. Like, it's not even clicking about. And I'm thinking, like, stranger danger, like, let me go. He's like, no, you know who I am. I'm looking at his face, but I'm just like, nah. So he's like, well, take my number. And I'm like, fine. So I put his number in my phone, and he's like, text me. And I'm just like, I don't want to text you. In my head, I'm like looking at him. I'm like, he looks familiar, but it's just not clicking. But I'm just like, you know what, whatever, just to get him out of my face. So I text him, I'm like, this is my number. So it clicks to me, and I'm like, crap, this is him, this is him. And the reason why I knew this, because I guess when you put the phone numbers in, and I had Facebook connected at the time, so my contacts kind of synced, and I was like, oh crap, that's him. So I go the whole day with not, you know, responding after that, after I told him, hey, you know, this is me, blah blah blah. I link up with my friend Kristen later that afternoon. We go out to dinner in this place in Astoria, and my phone is just going off, and my ex-boyfriend was actually texting me in the midst of everything. We were talking about possibly, you know, meeting up for the night and trying to solve everything that happened. My phone is going off, and it's him, the new guy, texting me like nonstop. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm out to dinner with my friend. And he's like, let's link up for later. I'm like, I cannot link with you later because I have plans. I go ghost on him for about a week and a half. Randomly, I bump into him at a gas station, not pumping gas, but I'm going in to play lotto, and it's him. And I'm like, crap. And he's like, what's up? Like, you know, you ain't ghost on me. And I'm like, I know, I've just been really busy, whatever. So he's like, well, when are you gonna make time for me? Like, what's up? I'm trying to get to know you. And I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. And he's trying to make small talk, and I'm just not trying to hear it. Now I want to say the week later after that, I bumped into him at the grocery store, and I'm like, okay, this man is legit stalking me. Like, what is up? Come to find out, his mother lives right around the corner from me, and he can see when I come out of my house. This is super creepy, like super duper creepy. Fast forward, and I'm ashamed to say this, I just give in because things are not working out between me and my ex-boyfriend, and this is a vulnerable time for me, and I'm just like, you know what, let me just give this guy a chance. Instead of focusing on myself and taking time to heal, I'm too busy thinking about, okay, let me just hop in another relationship without getting to know this person. We end up chilling. Maybe 3-4 weeks later, we end up doing the do. And I'm just like, why did I do that to myself? Like, why? And I take full responsibility of everything that happens, everything that I'm going to share with you guys. I'm not playing victim when it comes to me laying down with this man, giving him my time, not knowing him, and doing all of this. So with everything that happened and things going the way it was, everything seemed fine at first. He seemed charming, and then when we found out that I was pregnant, he was like so ecstatic and excited, and I just felt like, okay, like I guess this is it. He's like, let me tell my family and whatnot. Mind you, I didn't even know the family like that, barely met them. Of course, on my end with my family, they're like, what the heck? And my mom was not open arms to it. She was so against the whole situation, and for good reason. Come to find out, months into it, I am pregnant and whatnot, and I should have did my research from the get-go, but nothing prompted me to go and look because I felt like he was doing his thing. At the same time, I just felt like, why do you want to be under me so much? That's another red flag. Why do you have so much time? If you do real estate, why are you underneath me? Because when I did real estate, I was hustling. I had like zero time. You couldn't even catch me because it's a 24/7 job. If you are not really putting in the numbers, I get it, you have time to yourself, but I was really busy. Neither here or there. I found out one day because I was just like, you know what, let me go check on him. So when I found out that he wasn't actually licensed, I brought it up to his attention, and I was just like, why would you lie to me about something like this? Then he gets all defensive and he starts telling me, well, I touch more money than you have and I'm not even licensed and whatnot. I'm like, that's besides the point. We start fighting about finances and the fact that I'm trying to tell him, you need to go to work. I'm pregnant. I cannot be the breadwinner here. And I worked my entire pregnancy. I worked my behind off. I was doing property management after I found out I was pregnant. So he wasn't trying to hear that. And I felt like every situation where I would bring up something where I was concerned, not to pick fights with him, but to be like, listen, hey, like, I need you to be on the same page that I'm on. And he wasn't trying to hear it. So with me not getting any cooperation from him, I started backing out. I'm gonna fast forward because I don't really want to drag this out. So as things got a little bit deeper, as I got deeper into my pregnancy, I just felt like this wasn't the man that I met. And he wasn't a man, he was a boy. And he lied about everything. Started cheating on me, started being totally different. And I remember times that I was going to work and he would be like, listen, you need to call me as soon as you get on the train, as you're walking to work. Like, he would blow up my phone and be like, why it took you so long to call me? And I'm like, I was on a train. I didn't have service. I just got out. Like, little things like that. And I found myself just being so submissive. And I felt like every time I tried to step up for myself, he would just push me down, like physically knock me down. And there were times that I would come home and I'm tired, I'm pregnant, like I just want to lay down. We were arguing over the TV. I'm like, listen, I gotta get up for work in the morning, turn off the PlayStation or whatever, just lay down. And he's like, you shut up, like, you lay down, you lay down. And I'm like, all I'm asking you to do is just turn off the TV. Like, why can't you just do it? Because we were living in a studio at the time. He wouldn't listen. So I turned off the TV. I was like, I'm so tired. Like, why can't you just have respect for me? He picked me up and he threw me. And I was pregnant, guys. And I'm not going to say there weren't times that I fought back, because I did, and I shouldn't have. I just couldn't take it. I wasn't a punk. But I should have considered the fact that I had my son growing inside of me, and I should have thought about his safety first. And plenty of times I felt like I'm not going to make it out of this situation. Plenty of times I felt like I'm gonna be on a stretcher. And when I think about everything that I went through with this guy, I think about that song called Love Is Blind by Eve. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I'm that old. And when it came out, I remember as a kid, I'm just like, wow, like, who would do this to somebody? Like, why would they do this to them? You know, that is so cruel. And to look at that video and go through that, you know, years later. I remember there was one time that I called the cops and I locked the door, and he banged the door open, and I had Noah in my arms, and it almost hit Noah, and I was hurt plenty of times. I was thrown, I was knocked, I was punched, and you know, I did fight back. But I just think about things like, why did I have to do all of that? I shouldn't have to do that with somebody that loves me, that truly loves me. It was at that moment that I realized, look, I don't even love myself to be dealing with all of this, you know. Before I even continue this, that's really it. The fact that you are going through this, you do not love yourself. And I'm not saying you don't have the confidence in you and you're not aware of who you are as a human being, but you can't let somebody else tear you down. You know, this is somebody else that does not own you. They have no right to talk to you the way that they're talking to you. And I'm going to make something very clear. It's not just physical abuse, it's verbal abuse as well. And that counts. So many times this man called me out my name and was super disrespectful to me. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, all these red flags that I had the opportunity to just leave before I even had Noah. But I was just so scared. You know, it's easier said than done to just tell somebody, hey, they could pick up and leave. It doesn't happen like that, especially when you have a child in the mix. But what did it for me was the one time that him and I argued and he had Noah in his arms and I was telling him, give me Noah. And he was just so adamant about me taking Noah and running away, which I had plans on doing. Kid you not, I didn't share these plans, but I knew that he knew I was up to something. But at this moment, I'm like, give me Noah, because Noah was turning blue. He was having a seizure at that. So it took for me to realize that my son is in the crossfire of this. This is unhealthy, this is toxic, and it shouldn't have gone down like that. It really shouldn't have. And I say this because as a mother, we think about ourselves, but we think about our children first. And for me, I had to do this for him. I had to, because had I stayed in that situation, I don't think I would have made it out alive, guys. And I don't think he would have made it out alive, because so many times it just came so close. And that's what I'm saying, guys. If you are going through this, you really need to seek help. And I know at times you think about things, especially if you're in a situation, you think about, okay, what if I go and tell somebody, you know, and they find out, they're gonna come after me. So many times I was scared of my safety. I called the cops and I was still scared of my safety. I had a restraining order against this man and I still was scared for my safety, because I was just like, this, he can come out of nowhere, you know, just for revenge because I put him in jail. Just so many times that I'm just thinking to myself, like, what if, you know, what if I stay? You know, am I gonna continue to go through this? Will they change? No, they're not gonna change. And that's the thing. They will show you who they are eventually. They're not going to show you who they are in the beginning. They're going to show you this facade, you know, this Prince Charming and all of that. The fact that I was so vulnerable in the beginning, I guess that's how everything happened. And again, I'm not trying to play victim when it comes to that, because I was fully responsible. I could have backed out. I could have said no. I could have done a lot of things, but I chose to stay, and that was my fault. But I say this all just because I've been through it, and this was a lesson learned for me. And yes, it took me having to go through heartbreak, me having to be out in the cold on New Year's Day with my son just to get away from this man, because he was down my throat, cursing me out, putting his hands on me, and I couldn't take it no more. No taxis available. 2 o'clock in the morning, going to a town over to my mom's house in the cold, walking, and cars are just passing by. And there was a car that even stopped and was like looking at me, and I just tried to do everything not to keep eye contact, but I know they were probably looking at me like, why is this girl out here? But when I look at things and I start reflecting, I do see somebody that was trying. I was trying everything that I could. I was trying to seek help, but at the same time I was embarrassed, I was scared, and I just felt really ashamed of my whole situation, because again, I barely knew this man. I went through hell with this man, and I lost friends and family because of this man, and I just felt like there was nowhere for me to really turn to. But sooner or later I got it together. I was able to seek help, and that's something that I really want to encourage you guys. It's just really imperative to talk to somebody and be as discreet as you can. If there is somebody out there that you can go to, a family member, a safe haven, do that. I'm just saying, you need to take these appropriate steps because this is not healthy for you. And I felt like I was just turning into a different person, and I was just becoming so aggressive and nasty, and yeah, I didn't feel right. I didn't feel like myself. But I just realized that most importantly, I have a purpose here, and that's to be here for my son, and I had to do what's best for him. And somehow I found a motivation to just pick up and leave. It wasn't easy, but that's what I had to do. And changing my career, because this man was not supportive of me by any means. He was not supportive of me going back to school. He wanted me to do illegal things. I was just like, that's not how I was raised. And if I wasn't in school, I had to get a job. And if I wasn't working, I had to be in school. That's how I was raised. And you know, now I'm a nurse. But yeah guys, before my camera dies, I just want to say, like, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You have to see that. You have to see it for yourself, and you have to be positive and think about the ways that you can do better for yourself. And if you have children involved, believe me, I know it's not easy. It's not like you could just pick up and leave, but try to take the necessary steps in talking to somebody and figure out a plan. Having faith and believing in myself that I can do it. I got to this point, and I'm really proud of myself, and hopefully this will be motivation for somebody out there that is trying to do better for themselves and get out of a situation that's unhealthy and toxic, because you cannot live like that, guys. You cannot. And most importantly, for your children, if you have kids, you cannot have them be in that environment. So if you guys have any questions, or if you want to share your personal story, you can definitely email me or leave a comment. If you guys have any ideas that you want to share for future videos, and if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. I know some people are not gonna like what I talked about. That's fine, but I just felt like I needed to share it. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.